So I'm pretty sure this is probably normal, and if my memory serves me, I'm pretty sure that I probably did something like this, something similar. And my wife talked about how she did something kind of similar. But my boy, he's a few months shy of his fourth birthday, but he's going through a little phase right now where he is waking up in different points during the night and uh, scared of bad dreams or whatever, and he wants to come and be with mommy and daddy. Sometimes 1 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's it's one of those situations where you do what you have to do because that's your kid. You want to take care of them. You don't want to do something that can hurt them emotionally. But it's kind of hard. You're walking that line between should you give in? Should did you let him cry it out, or things like that? And the problem with that is he's big enough. Uh, he can open all doors. He can do all that stuff, and then we got to think about the other. We have to think about our daughter who's still trying to sleep. We can't have him yelling and screaming and running amok and while she's still trying to sleep. And then next thing you know, we got another problem. We got an 18-month-old that's up and screaming. But we're trying to take a gentle approach and be understanding to what he's going through, with the idea that it's probably a temporary phase that he'll eventually get over. And my wife recently, she said a simple prayer, just asking God, what do I do? And she said almost immediately she heard in her own voice, inside her head, to love him through it. And that's kind of the tactic that we're taking. And last night, part of the process is not only does he wake up in the middle of the night, he cannot go to sleep unless one of us is in there with him. And right now, that person has got to be me. He won't even let it be his mommy. It was his mommy, the first couple nights, and then, in fairness, and I didn't want that burden to be completely on her, so I did it. And since then, he won't let it be anybody but me, which I'm okay with that. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do because, about that time of night, to lay in a dark room and trying to be quiet, so a 4-year-old, almost 4-year-old could try to get to sleep. What's happened on more than one occasion is I end up asleep on the floor. And I kind of miss out on a big chunk of my night, or with my wife, which is extremely important to us because of our schedules and all the things that we have going on. We don't always get a lot of time. But last night when I was laying there, and he always has this thing where he likes tickles, and it's basically you just kind of run your fingers over his arm or his belly or his leg or something like that, and it tickles him, but you're not like really tickling him. It's just he knows it as that, and so he asked for tickles, and when I was tickling him, I just quietly said a prayer myself that to let him have peace, let him sleep, let him rest through the night, let him just be okay, and but also saying that if he has to get up, let him know that his mom and I are there and to come to us. because we understand that, some things are completely out of our control. And unless my wife tells me different, and unless I just slept through it, which is entirely possible, I have a pretty good idea that he, when I left for work a little after 6 in the morning, I hadn't heard him or seen him awake. So, when I get home, I'm sure my wife will tell me, or I'll ask, but I'm pretty sure that he kind of just slept through the night. And I think a big part of that is, our approach to it, to be calm, to be caring about it, to be loving about it, to be understanding to him. That it would be so easy for us to treat it as an annoyance or as a burden, or to make him feel like it's something that we hate to do, or that we don't want to do, or that he should feel bad for making us do. And we don't want that. We don't want him to feel bad, or even put a thought in his head that his mommy and daddy don't want to take care of him or be there for him. And because we want to do everything we can to make his life as easy as possible, without handcuffing him, as far as teaching him, how to be independent and self-sufficient. But so I'm hoping that he made it through the night, and if he did, I'm not expecting that, okay, it's done, we'll never have to worry about it again. But it shows a sign that, with the right attitude, the right approach, and some very simple prayers, a lot of stuff, a lot of things can work out the way they're supposed to work out, and with not a whole lot of strife and not a whole lot of anxiety or distress. And it's amazing to kind of see that in action, that my wife and I are on the same page, and we're looking at it the same way and trying to approach it the same way, and both, separately, but basically as one, praying about it so that our son gets what he needs as far as rest, but also gets what he needs as far as love. And that's very important. And it's a hard line to walk as a parent, to give them what they need, to give them what they want, but also, there's a time to, where you kind of, quote unquote, have to let them fall. And, it's still very early. I mean, he's not even 4 yet, and my daughter's 18 months, so there'll be plenty of time for that, I'm sure. But this is definitely a learning experience for both of us, is to see the effect that approaching things a different way, or in a loving, caring way, in this case, is how it's paying off when we come at it from a place of love rather than a place of discipline or annoyance or things like that. And because, like I said, with our schedules and everything that we got going on, it'd be so easy to just fall back on that we're tired and we can't deal with it, so we got to figure out a way to make it so it doesn't happen. And instead, we're trying to work him through it, love him through it, and so far it seems to be working. And like I said at the beginning of this, I'm pretty sure this is probably a fairly normal thing for small children. If anybody out there, it'd be nice to hear that, yeah, we're not alone, that your kids or somebody's kids had the same issues, and it was a temporary situation, and eventually they just kind of got over it. And it would just be very reassuring to hear stuff like that. So if you got anything like that, please leave a comment, or even just send a private message or anything like that. Just anything like that would be helpful to my wife and I to hear and read. to see that we're not alone and that there's other people that are going through the same thing.